My name is Francois du Toit. I am a lecturer and professor in piano at the South African College of Music at the University of Cape Town. I'm also a pianist. Some people say I can hold a tune. I was fortunate enough to have a very good teacher in my fundamental years, or the growing up years, which she had encouraged me always to take part in eisteddfods and to take part in competitions and to do little concerts at the school perhaps, and also privately. And it was just a natural follow through that was what was going to happen. We were very fortunate that in South Africa there are opportunities for people to do that. But I think if I can speak to the idea of why it was something that tickled my fancy, it is because playing the piano or doing a musical instrument, or being creative, is not something that comes from some pie in the sky idea that you are sort of, talented. I understood the whole concept behind it, and I was very interested in the discipline involved in doing it. And as in anything, as in sport, as in mathematics, there is a discipline that is involved, and I wanted that part of my brain, wanted to be able to master this art form and to also be creative and therefore build on it. And I think one of the most important things that people often miss the point of is that, when you do something like the arts or sport, it teaches you how to take responsibility for yourself, but it also adds to your life in that I was never bored as a teenager. If I didn't want to do my homework or something and I wanted to, and I played out with friends or whatever, I then had something else that was there to preoccupy me, and also I hope in some form to develop my mental functions. People are short-sighted if they don't understand that art is all around us. From the design of the piece of clothing that you're wearing, perhaps to the design of the car that your dad bought. I mean, if that person hadn't been taught to draw and design that car would look hideous. It's everywhere in terms of music. I mean, when you answer your cell phone, it makes a ringing noise often. That is a tune. That has got to be composed somewhere. Where it comes to walking into a Pick and Pay or listening to something on the radio, all of those things incorporate some form of art. To try to separate it and say that it is something that is just like a painting hanging in a gallery or not, your own mother would be horrified if she didn't have her house properly decorated, or what she thought was properly decorated, if it wasn't from some inspiration from some artist. So arts education, sort of as a separate entity, is actually just hogwash. People just don't understand the concept of that everything in life we are surrounded by is art. If somebody would like to follow a career in the arts and at a high school level can see that they are interested, I think the most important thing for them to do is to research it and to get into contact with people that are in the arts already. At the risk of sounding slightly arrogant, don't listen to what your parents have to say. If they're not in the arts, they won't know. You have to go out there and find out the answers for yourself and see, is this possible for me? What it involves. It often involves 90% hard work, 10% talent. So you have to be able to know that you will be able to put everything into it. But it can be one of the most rewarding careers that you can have. It is often a case that it will take you to all parts of the world. You can travel. You will always come into contact with very interesting people from different walks of life. And more importantly, it doesn't mean that if you are taking or choosing a career in music arts that you're going to be a performer. I have one of my students who won a scholarship to America to go and do a course, a master's course in writing themes for video games. And has been incredibly successful, and is making quite a lucrative life out of it at this stage. So as one rather silly example, but that is the aspect of it. We are encircled by music every day of our life, whether we switch on the television or whether we get into an elevator or whether we walk around in the Pick and Pay. It's going to be there, and that has got to be created somewhere and produced by somebody. What inspires me, I think, is the contact that I have with young people, with students, Most of my contact is, of course, with people that are outside of school already, tertiary level education students. I enjoy the challenges that raises when you're dealing with young people, because young people come along full of the joys of life and also full of the joys of problems of life. So you're at the same time working as a teacher, but you're also a mentor, you're a psychologist, and you become, in most cases, a friend to that person. My own personal life of performing, I love the challenge and the discipline that involves working my art. I'm happiest when I'm able to sit and spend 2 or 3 hours a day with myself, working at something at the instrument, researching it, listening to different recordings, perhaps also sitting and working with other people when it comes to working with chamber music. It is never a dull profession. There is always something different going on. Often I get to work with overseas performers who come out, I accompany them. Every person is different. Some are a nightmare, some are absolutely charming, but I would not swap it for anything in the world. To conduct your life in the arts and to be sort of business-minded does take some doing. I would highly recommend that pay attention a little bit in the maths class, even though you might be bored by the time you get to matric. But you do need to know how to work with numbers and figures, because in order to do something which is entrepreneurial most of the time, and you are an independent business, you need to also go forward with a sense of your own worth, a business plan, how you're going to market yourself, how you are actually going to make it work for you financially. We have a business management course which we incorporate into our first year of studies here at the University of Cape Town. It's BMAS, purely for this reason. So whether you are going to open up a teaching studio or whether you are going to go into the arts as a performer, you need to know. You have to approach a manager perhaps, or if you're going to manage yourself, you have to also be able to know how to work out the figures, how to predict what it's going to cost you, and time and space. We're not any different from, say, a lawyer or a doctor. We have times that we need to practice, we have times that we need to prepare, and for that we also need to incorporate that into the budget. Well, my dream or vision for it is that I'm sure that people in the higher education department are incredibly short-sighted. If one looks at the successful arts programs in countries such as Germany and in China, honestly, how much more? Can they read, or do they not look at news reports? Do they not know what is doing? Can they not do their research? If they are in education, surely they should be able to research it. They should open their eyes and be aware to the fact that these things are important. My fervent wish is that there would be more money made available for the arts, especially in disadvantaged communities, because it has been proven time and time again that people that have access to these facilities improve their lives and feel that they have a purpose and meaning in their life. I think it's very important for people to support all forms of the arts because it affords us the opportunity to think. I know that there's a course in robotics, but really honestly, do we really want to act like robots? We need to have some sense of opinion, some sense of criticism, some sense of appreciation, and some way of thinking that we need to do. I mean, if we're not going to support the arts in what it provides to people through the ages and what it has shown to us, then what is the point of existing if it's not to develop our creative side?